Here's your energy update for August 2021. It's time to prepare for what is coming. Hi, I'm Saratoga Ocean, and I work together with an interdimensional, interuniversal, and extraterrestrial force known as Telstar, along with Archangel Michael. August 2021 is an extremely important month. The battle lines are being drawn between the controllers of this planet and the people of this earth. So it's time to prepare for what is coming. Now, in this video, I'm going to be sharing some kind of intense things. I encourage you to hear me out because after I do, I'm going to share something with you that is going to blow your mind in a totally positive, wonderful, and awesome way. We are reaching a very, very critical point in terms of the process that this planet and all of humanity is going through. And the main point that I want to make in this video is I want to explain to you why it is so incredibly vital that we understand the power of our hearts and what the meaning of our connection to our hearts has in this entire situation. I want to give you a bigger picture view of what the controllers have in mind, what they're trying to do, and what their end game is. And then I want to explain to you exactly how it is that we can maintain our presence, our positive presence in this situation, and why every single human being, every single one of us, is so important. And I also want to share with you that it's not really very complicated what it is we need to do. It's actually really, really simple, and it's also very doable. So let's start with the basics about what is happening right now with the people on this earth. People are essentially taking sides between fear and love. So you are either allied with fear or you are allied with love. It really just boils down to something that simple. Now, here's the crazy thing. The controllers want us to believe that fear is the same as love. If you believe their story and you are frightened enough to do what they say, then it means that you love yourself and that you love everyone else. Think about that. If you succumb to their control, then you are a loving, caring person. How's that for some 1984 newspeak? I mean, that sounds like some pretty serious and rather twisted gaslighting, if you ask me. And on the other hand, if you don't want to tolerate the abuse because you actually love yourself and love your life, well, then you're no better than a common criminal or maybe even a murderer. See, this is a good example of why it's so important that we really keep our wits about us and see them for what they are. Now, here's where things are right now. The controllers have completely outed themselves. Prior to 2020, they appeared to just be neurotic human leaders of various different countries that we all knew well. But every country was different. And suddenly, over the past year and a half, they have emerged as these sadistic monsters who very mysteriously are all on the same page worldwide. You know, it's like countries be damned. We're all going to be put through the same hell no matter what country we're in on this planet. So this planet is clearly now being governed by a unified force. And honestly, what these so-called leaders are doing is not exactly human. This is not human behavior. And you know, standing back and looking at this from an extraterrestrial point of view, I kind of sense a reptilian sort of vibe behind all of this weird behavior. See, it's very convenient that they have kept the truth about extraterrestrials hidden from us, because that way they can prevent us from having a true perspective on their actions. If we just think all of this is human behavior and we think we're only dealing with human beings, well, we are going to kind of feel like we're forced to conclude that this is human behavior when it clearly is not. They kind of make it so we feel like, or some of us feel like, we have to be more accepting of their strange ideas. But by keeping the extraterrestrial universe a secret from us, they can keep us kind of permanently off balanced and confused. At least that's their plan. Now, I want to share with you a couple of things about the reptilians and about AI and how that's all interconnected, because I think it might help to make some sense about this bigger situation. The reptilian race is intimately connected with AI, which is a bit ironic because they are actually a very primitive race, but they share a very unfortunate symbiotic relationship with the alien AI. See, the reptiles are all about fear and violence, and AI is all about control. So when you put the two things together, you have a planet that is controlled using fear and violence. Now that the controllers have outed themselves as the monsters that they really appear to be, it's becoming clear that we really are nearing the end game. This is why August 2021 is so important. Let's peel away the curtain of all the complex stuff going on, and let's look at how simple this situation actually is. There's this feeling that the battle lines are being drawn for the coming fall season, or spring if you're in the southern hemisphere. Now, I do think that the controllers sense that they are losing on a number of fronts. So I think that they're probably regrouping right now to have another run at it in the latter part of this year. Right now, the controllers appear to be united in their efforts worldwide. But we human beings, we're not united. We're basically in two different camps. Here's what this looks like. Over here, we have the controllers who are united, but then over here, we have two separate groups of humans, one group of humans who love life, and the other group of humans who fear life. So as a humanity, we are divided and the controllers are united. And this is also where you can see a clear timeline split emerging in terms of human consciousness. So you want to know what the controller's biggest problem is right now? Their biggest problem is their inability so far to herd all of humanity into the camp of fearing life. Their main goal is to get us all herded into the same camp, fearing that life is so dangerous and there's all this danger around. And you guys know I can't say what the danger is, but we all know what it is, right? It's so funny when you think about it, because it's like, ooh, be afraid of life because you might die. I mean, that's so weird, isn't it? So this is the stage we're in terms of their larger agenda. Their main focus right now is to get everybody herded into the camp of fear. Now, why would they want to do that? Well, let me explain. The camp of fear benefits AI and the reptilian agenda in the following ways. See, the reptilians love to feed on the energy of fear and violence. They love to feed on the energy of suffering. They are actually the chief agents of torture because it benefits them energetically. They're basically a very violent and a very sadistic race, and they are really experts at mind control. And this is why I say the fact that we are told there's no extraterrestrials out there is not helpful to us, because if we don't know what's really going on, then we think that violence and sadism and torture is a human thing when it is not. Now, the reptilian mindset is very good at bringing people to a place where they fear life and live in misery. They are excellent at steering human beings to some very dark places. Using advanced mind control techniques, and especially now that we have so much AI technology making the mind control agenda a whole lot easier. So let me explain that symbiotic relationship I was talking about between the reptilians and AI. See, the reptilian efforts support an AI takeover because the fear that they engender makes people unconscious, it makes them reactive, and most importantly, makes them very, very controllable. AI needs a subdued, enslaved populace to be able to infiltrate the planet and gain total control over biological life. Now, I want to share with you another very interesting element in terms of this entire situation. And then afterwards, I'll explain how it is that our connection to our hearts is so important and so powerful in a much wider scheme of things. Looking at everything that I've shared with you so far, you should know, of course, that Archangel Michael sees all of this, and he does not act alone. Now, Archangel Michael and some other very powerful forces of light have already saved this planet at least once from being destroyed. So let me share with you an interesting story that he told me quite a long time ago. There are very benevolent higher forces of evolution who understand our situation very deeply. However, when Archangel Michael shared this story with me, he told me that some of those forces at one point a while back had literally given up on this earth. There was a lot of discussion about whether or not this planet even had a chance to make it at all because the conditions here were so incredibly bad. And that's not necessarily to say that we as a humanity, we as life would ever be given up on. It's not that. It's more about the conditions that are occurring here. This planet has been in trouble for a very long time. This is not just a recent occurrence. See, there's another angle that we have to consider, and that is the fact that this situation is such a negative influence in the wider cosmos. And there's a lot of energy out there that wants to protect this problem from going further, I think largely due to AI. Now, the really important thing that Archangel Michael shared with me in terms of these broader discussions that were happening out in the universe about this earth and what was going on here is that his point of view, his perspective, his stand was that he was not giving up at all. And the reason he told me was so beautiful. He said he wasn't giving up because there were still too many people who were truly sincere, who were connected to their hearts, who really felt and were praying for a genuine, true solution that was related to love. He said he was completely 100% banking on that. It was really clear to me when he was describing this to me that that was the one thing, the most important thing that was giving us a chance. Now, when these councils and meetings were happening, what Archangel Michael told me, obviously the outcome was, okay, let's give it another chance. Let's keep trying and see if there's something we can do to turn this situation around. So if anyone believes that we're all alone and nobody's concerned about us, nobody's helping us, that's just not true. There is a tremendous amount of concern about what's happening on this planet. And I know there are those who think, well, the only solution is war and killing and all that kind of stuff. That's not the only solution, because the whole idea, it's not just about war and who wins and who loses. What it's really about is evolution. That is the highest level of concern that there is. Are we able to continue to evolve? That is the number one highest level of concern. See, if we lose our hearts and we lose our love for life, we can no longer evolve. Let's come back to the topic of our ascension for a moment. If you cannot evolve, you certainly cannot ascend. There is only one engine of human evolution and human ascension, and that is the human heart that is connected to omnipresent love and to the entire universe in its natural form. Now, I've said all along that the controllers want to prevent us from ascending. They want to shut down our ability to evolve because they know what that would mean. That would mean that we can't ascend and we can't be saved in our current form. So I think there are those out there in the universe who kind of look at us and say, man, these guys are kind of hanging by a thread. That thread is quite literally our connection to our hearts, because that is what makes us truly human and truly able to evolve as beings in the universe. It is that heart connection that is keeping us alive and keeping those benevolent forces working in our favor. And I want to share with you something that is so important to know. The universe will never, ever turn its back on a sincere, heartfelt connection and love of truth. Okay, so with all that said, let me give you a simple context, and then I'm going to explain to you the incredible power that we have that I think is going to help you really align with your presence here and your purpose here in a way that you possibly never even saw before now. The reason that the controllers want to keep us ignorant, they want to keep us shut down from the rest of the universe, is because they do not want us to have any real context for our existence. They want to be the ones, the only providers of context in our minds. Think about what their context is. It's ridiculous, right? It's like, oh, life is terrible. Life is dangerous. You need to be locked down. You need to be shut down. You need to have your face covered so you can't breathe because everything is so terrible. And that's crazy. And so what happens is we start to live as though that's what we're dealing with. That's our situation. That's our reality. All they're doing is preventing us from understanding the bigger picture. And in the bigger picture, this planet is in no way separated from the universe. This planet is in no way being ignored. There's so much going on around us that is doing everything conceivable to try and help this situation. And we, as starseeds, lightworkers, wayshowers, and awakening humans, we are playing a very powerful role in our situation, but the controllers want to keep us so distracted that we don't see or understand how powerful our role actually is, how simple it is, and how actually doable it is. So to put it all in a nutshell, just take a moment to step way, way, way back from this planet, away from the galaxy, from this dimension. Just expand your consciousness to a much bigger perspective where really amazingly high intelligence exists that is only concerned with this universe and its ability to ascend and evolve back into its natural state. That is the chief concern. That is the main concern above and beyond all else. So looking at this tiny little planet called Earth and saying there's a big problem there on Earth, our goal is to make sure that humanity and the planet and biological life can continue to evolve, can continue to remain connected to the organic natural universe, and that evolution and ascension can proceed as it is naturally designed to proceed. So that's the main concern. Now, the controllers, and that would be AI, that would be reptilian influences, and all of these negative influences on this planet, their goal is really simple. They want to sever our connection to our hearts completely. They want us in the camp of fear because they know that if they can accomplish that, we will lose our ability to evolve. We can be completely taken over by AI, and that's it. We're severed from the natural universe. We're severed from who we are, from our ability to evolve. So it's really just that simple. Now, when we understand this and we understand that our role is to stay deeply connected to our hearts, deeply connected to who we are and our truth, we need to understand the power of that simple thing, and that is literally what connects us to the rest of the universe and to extremely powerful forces that have the same intention that we do, which is to maintain that connection, which is to evolve beyond all of this craziness. So think about how amazing it is that we would come here as starseeds, lightworkers, and wayshowers, that we would come here and live on this earth, be physically present on this earth, to hold that heart connection strong, so that we exist as a force on this planet, a force of energy, a force of consciousness, and a force of presence that is united with these powerful forces of intelligence that go way beyond just this galaxy, way beyond just this dimension, that we're unified with that. And our presence here, our steadfast presence in connection to our hearts and to who we really are and to that light and that truth of who we are, maintains the earth as a viable place for evolution. Do you see how amazing that is? Do you see how powerful that is? Do you see how when you understand and recognize that, these controllers cannot break us? It's impossible for them to break us. Now, they might think, oh, well, we're breaking down humanity all over the place. Well, fine, maybe they think that, but they cannot break down the collective. They can't do it. because we're here, we're clear, we get it, and we know what's going on. And I know that so many of us feel alone, we feel misunderstood, and all of that stuff, but that's just because the controllers are creating so much chaos. We're totally understood, you guys. We're completely understood in this universe. We're a part of something so much bigger than ourselves. That's why we're here. So we don't need to get distracted by all of this craziness. Oh my gosh, when you get this, it's just going to blow you away. When we really get this, we are operating with Archangel Michael, with those powerful forces. We are like at one with these forces. And this is really, it's our presence, our energy that is creating the space for so many other people to start waking up. And that's why people are waking up. So we don't have to think that our role here is really complicated and difficult and confusing. And what if people don't understand us? And what if they don't believe us or agree with us? It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter, because the power of our presence and our connection to those immense, immense forces in this universe, that whose only concern is the evolution of life on this earth. We're holding an energy that is extremely powerful. And as long as we hold that energy, there is nothing these controllers can do to succeed at what they're trying to accomplish. Nothing. They can't do it. It's impossible. We are making it impossible. Isn't that awesome? So let me come back just to the subject of August 2021. I think August is a wonderful month for us to regroup, hold this consciousness, hold this awareness. It doesn't even take a lot of effort. It more takes a feeling of enlightenment. It's like awakening at a whole different level. Like, of course, this is who we are. Of course, this is why we're here. And do you understand the level of confidence that will come to you when you really get this? I mean, you won't even feel like you're struggling anymore. So the power of our presence comes when we truly understand our purpose, which is to maintain, as I said, the heart connection to reality, to truth, to love, to light, to life evolving as nature. So now from there, we can just get real practical on a practical day-to-day basis. What does this mean? Well, it's really simple. How you live your life on a day-to-day basis, how much you intend to preserve gratitude, love, the heart, nature, a connection to the truth of the earth and its beauty and its existence as a paradise, its existence as a natural part of the universe. How much you just simply stay connected to that is really all that you have to really be concerned about in terms of the tragedy that's trying to happen on this earth. My main message in this video is I want you to understand how incredibly important each and every one of us is as an individual. By each one of us maintaining our connection to our hearts, to our love for life, for truth, for everything I've described, we're literally keeping this planet intact. We're literally standing in the way of the controllers and AI and their agenda. That is so amazing. One time Archangel Michael said something very interesting, and I'll leave you with this thought. He said that every single human being is looking out of their eyes for the whole of the human species, for the whole of the human race. Because in truth, we're all one on this planet. So when this planet is sprinkled with these beautiful light workers, these beautiful star seeds, all of us who understand this simple truth, this simple perspective, we're holding an energy, we're holding a space that the controllers have no power over whatsoever. So when you really get this, it's actually so exciting. It's like an awakening at a whole new level. So I hope you have enjoyed this video. I hope you have found some profound inspiration in your own life and an understanding of the importance of your presence on this planet, you as an individual, and how incredibly important and meaningful your existence here really is. And if this has brought value to you, please give this video a thumbs up and share it out with anyone else who you really feel needs to hear this information. And be sure to subscribe and hit that notification bell, because I am here every Sunday, Tuesday, and Friday with all new videos. And with that, I'm sending you so much love, light, and high vibrational energy. And I so look forward to seeing you in the next video. Namaste.